Yeah, so now we were talking about, now I come to you and my career path, I want to discover, I've just finished school and I need to figure out what the hell it is I want to do. Now, a lot of the times you don't know what you want to do, and you're probably going to go along different pathways to begin with. But ultimately, if you want to study something, I mean, I've experienced people who've gone and studied for years doing something and then they go, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do this. This is just not me.
What was I thinking?
You know, or you followed your parents' idea of what they wanted for you. Now, if you're somebody who's confused, especially when you like putting your CVs together and you're putting your career together, you kind of need to establish what your strengths are, I would imagine, and your skill set. And is that part of...
It absolutely is. When I sit down with somebody and we're looking at the career, I say, okay, what is it that you like to do? And it's a bit of this and a bit of that, and I make notes of this. And then there's actually a process that I take you through. It literally is completing questionnaires, which then say to you, okay, in this type of category, these are the things I like to do. And you look at what predominates. And then based on that information, I sit down and you say, okay, if you're looking at all this information, this is what your skill set is. This is what you are passionate about doing. This is what you have been dreaming of as a kid. It's very telling if you ask someone, what did you want to do when you were 6 years old? Because it's your gut that comes out.
Listen, I can't remember what I was...
Yeah, well, it happens unfortunately when you get a bit older. But when you're younger and you're in your teens, generally you can remember.
Okay.
So that's a great thing. For older people, it's about, so what do you enjoy doing with your life when you're not working?
It's interesting you say that, because when I was younger and I was growing up, I think one of the things I really liked doing was playing teacher. But I mean, I can't see myself as a school teacher. I mean, I'd probably hang everybody. You know?
However, you are teaching youngsters in your business.
Yes,
you are teaching them to be editors. You are teaching them to do camera work. You are teaching them to do the voice behind it and all that sort of thing. So in actual fact, you are teaching. It's not just in the regular format that one would expect a teacher to be.
And it's quite funny how we do that, don't we? We like kind of box things. You know, we put things in little boxes and we go, okay, that's a teacher. I don't want to be a... You know, my natural core is to teach, but yet
I don't want to look like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be in
this. I don't want to have 30 kids around me. You know, that sort of thing.
So, okay, so now you kind of... is there any... What tools do you use to help people discover...
I have it's basically a workbook that I've put together, and it's a number of tools that I've put together over years, which you work through, and including the value system, and we put all this information together. We try and ascertain in what area you need to be working in. So, for instance, you might find that you want to work in the hospitality area, or you want to work in the legal fraternity. You just don't want to be a lawyer. And there's a lot of things that you can do working in that area. So then we break it down from there. Okay, so where do your skills lie? If you're older, we look at your skills, we look at what the training that you have done, we look at your experience, and then we mold it from there. So for argument's sake, you might be a phenomenal admin person, and you want to be a paralegal. So what you need to do is you actually need to go and study the diploma to be a paralegal. You've got the admin background, you've worked as a secretary, you've done all those bits and bobs already. Then the next step is, okay, so now how are you going to get into that area? And you actually develop a plan to get you there.
Yeah, I like that, because then it's almost like you're niching yourself.
Exactly.
Which is quite the buzzword and something that you should be doing.
You need to see yourself as a business.
Yeah.
If you're running a business, who's your niche client? And that's what you focus on. If you are, look at yourself as a business, is what is your niche? Where do you believe you can add value? What makes you feel good about what you're doing? If you don't feel good about your job, for heaven's sake, stop doing it. Find a way out.
Yes.
With youngsters, it's a lot more difficult because at 18 and 19, you really don't know who you are.
No.
However, if you at least know the area you want to be in, it's a great step forward. Because you can study in that area.
Yeah, it's almost like if you love property, for example, and you're very good at admin, then you could be trained to, or teach yourself to become a property PA almost.
Exactly.
You know, you specialize in property. And that's what I did in London actually a few years ago, was I worked with investment surveyors. So I'm quite specialized in that niche if I need to fall back on it. And that kind of also separates you in the marketplace.
It does.
In terms of when you're looking for jobs, because now you're not just any PA looking or admin person looking for a job.
You've got some other experience. Another thing is that if you've done something that doesn't align with it, that's actually okay. nothing that you've ever studied or any work that you've ever done is wasted. Okay. Because there's always a skill that you learn that you can actually add in. And it's about rewriting your CV, which I help you with, to make sure that what is relevant pops out.
Oh, that's excellent.
With the youngsters, you also look at what do they do for holiday work. Are they taking a gap year? What are they going to be doing during the gap year?
Okay.
Are you going to just somewhere going to go sit on the couch and do nothing? Or are you actually going to take the time to find a job in the area you want to be working in? How are you going to study? Who's going to pay for the study? Where are you going to study? All that sort of things are important because the kids need to understand what it is that they're going to do. Because sometimes they think, oh, I can't study, my parents don't have the money. That's fine. There's another way of doing it. You don't have to go full-time university or to tech. There's another way of doing it. Let's find that other way that's going to work for you. So you can't do it in 3 years. It's also okay. You do it in 5 years. You've got some working experience on your CV. Not only have you got your qualification, but now you've got some working experience, which puts you actually a cut above the people who have just gone to varsity or tech and have no background whatsoever in what they're doing.
Sure, I like that. You know, I mean, I'm just listening to what you're saying, and I'm looking back at my life, and I have to say, I wish I had a career coach. I didn't actually realize the value of it, and I think when we grew up, I mean, we didn't have, there wasn't even that existence.
We were lucky if we had guidance counselors at school. And then it was the basics, you know, you're going to be a doctor, an accountant, or and that's the options that you were given. At the end of the day, I think we're very lucky now in that we are much broader in how we think about careers. We're aware of the fact that you actually need to be happy with what you're doing to be able to make a difference. Because once people are happy, they are productive.
Absolutely.
Productive people impact on the bottom line.
Yeah.
CEOs and shareholders smile.
And it's quite funny. A lot of companies don't think like that,
they don't.
Do they?
No, they don't. I mean, you have people who believe that the only way to motivate their staff is to throw more money at them or to threaten them with discipline. Instead of sitting down and saying, okay, now, why is this person not working well?
Maybe they're not even in their talent strength. You know, they could be doing something.
You've promoted them and they've said, okay, well, there's the money. I'm going to take the job. They're not happy. You haven't bothered to upskill them whatsoever. They might have the right personality, but they don't have the skill structure. And those are all the sort of things that we need to be looking at in the day-to-day life, in our corporate roles, how to utilize people effectively in line with their skills and in line with their personalities.
Geez, that would make a lot of productivity.
Hugely different.
Now, we're pretty much wrapping it up for the show, but I just want to ask one last question. Now, as somebody who's coming out of school and they don't have a lot of money, parents may not have a lot of money, is it very expensive to kind of like just sit with you for an hour to kind of figure out, get some form of direction?
It does take a bit more than an hour. Okay. There is quite a bit of work involved. If you are prepared to actually really do the work, we could probably do it in 3 sessions.
Okay.
3, maybe 4 sessions, depending on how much has to be done, how much research you've actually done beforehand.
Okay.
If you have some idea of what it is that you want to do. But I would, the workbook is there. If you're prepared to sit and do the work, and we meet every 2 weeks, every week, depending on how fast you can do, 3 sessions, max.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to everybody out there, and coming from somebody that I tell you what, because I'm very much all over the show, my head's everywhere, and when I left school, I would say that is a very good investment. You know, go and take the time, use that money, even if you have to go and waitress and save the money, and just go and sit with Carol and really just get some form of direction for your life, because you can spend many years of your life actually going from here to here to there to there. And I did that. I ended up working for years in an industry I shouldn't have been working with, you know. Yes, it's taught me a lot of skills, it's taught me a lot of things, but you know what? I could have saved myself a lot of years doing
a lot of heartache and
painkillers
and doctor's bills.
Absolutely. So really, when you leave school, I recommend, and I highly recommend, that you guys have the opportunities these days to do something like this. Go and sit with a career coach and just get some form of direction. Thank you for watching. How do they get hold of you, Carol?
I'm on the web, www.gerberacoaching.co.za. They can pop me an email, carol@gerberacoaching.co.za, Twitter @gerberacoaching, and I'm on Facebook as well.
Excellent. Thank you for joining.
It's a pleasure.